Ladies and gentlemen of the crypto space, we are live on Thursday, August 6th, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, EST, EDT, whatever the heck you want to call it. We're on the East Coast, the United States, or whatever the heck we're calling it nowadays. I hope we remain states. There's even conspiracy theory, well, theories that the U.S. will break up a little bit. I mean, you got states that are so divided from the policies of other states. You got people in states. It's basically polar politics. You got A and B, left or right, up or down, Democrat, Republican. There is no middle ground anymore. So what the heck is going on? Anyway, that was a digression to open up this stream. Hello, everybody. Digibite or Just Nibble? What's up? Craig's in the house. Igor's in the house. Sam's in the house. Oh, my crypto arc, as Sam says, I've seen, I see. Here, the title of today's chat is we're going to look at Bancor, Kyber, and Ren and more because Bancor, Kyber, and Ren are basically the most important assets really out there right now. How do you when you say, Sam, the arc, I see patterns. I see tendencies and trends. Now, here, let's jump over to CoinGecko. Let's take a look at the top list, and let's think about why certain things are hot. What is Edgeware? Edgeware is the smart contract parachain, or at least the project that's eyeing for one of the smart contract parachain or one of the parachain slots. There's only going to be a certain amount of slots available for Polkadot parachains. There's a limited supply. Crypto Chico goes into it much better than I do. But the point being, there's a reason why that shit is hot over 24 hours. Because we're talking smart contracts and interoperability with executing smart contracts on the Polkadot network. Polkadot is basically the governance layer, as well as the settlement layer of sorts for the parachains. And if it's one hell of an ecosystem Gavin created. And basically, Polkadot is it's gonna be a place for Ethereum to offload everything. And yeah, you could do it on Ethereum, and who knows what's going to play out with Ethereum 2.0. But the layer one solutions are being weeded out. This is what this crypto season is all about. It's getting rid of uh, Tezos and I mean Elrond just released their mainnet and they're already talking about was it XDAI, they're talking about a bridge to Ethereum because they need it, because otherwise they're not going to have developers. All the developments on Ethereum, all the DeFi is on Ethereum. So if you want DeFi on these other platforms, there needs to be some sort of seamless bridge. And that's why Ren is hot, because that's the bridge. You need a custodian. What is a bridge? I talked about this the other day. What does it mean to have a bridge? You'll talk, Cardano is about they just released governance. They're probably 5,000 years away from smart contracts. They're going to need a bridge because nobody's going to build on it. Because all the billions and billions and billions of dollars exist in the DeFi space on Ethereum. So what is a bridge? You can't you can't send an asset from one chain to another. It doesn't work like that. It's like the assets are ERC20 contracts. They are defined and the quantity exists on Ethereum. So if you want to send one of those assets to another chain, there has to be something that holds the Ethereum asset, takes into custody the Ethereum asset, and creates a representation, a one-to-one, a tokenization of that asset on the other chain. And that's why that whole Disney John Carter analogy comes to mind, because you go into a little coma if you haven't seen the movie, and then boom, you're projected on Mars. So that's the same thing. So Red is like the Disney John Carter. It's really funny if you got kids and you think about it like that, because that's what's going on, and that's exactly what you need. So XDAI and Elrond, there's got to be a custodian and there's got to be a tokenized representation. There's no other conceptual way I could see that working. It doesn't make any sense. So that is what to look for in layer ones. Tezos, Elrond, Cardano, Polkadot's going to have this because Ren is working with Akala, and no doubt. So Cosmos is another story because Cosmos. Bear in mind, all these other layer ones have basically validators and delegation to validators, and they're all proof of stake. So it's interesting how they're all very comparable in technology. They're not proof of work, and frankly, Ethereum is moving away from proof of work, and it's real. So much of the system is changing, and it's kind of like trying to find the best mix of technologies to perform what everyone really needs, which is basically an alternative financial system at this point, as the legacy system continues to crumble. Let's take a look at the comments real quick. Uh, Lucky says in the house, yes. Wilkie says good day. BAM protocol is pumping. Yeah, 50% because I got a Coinbase Pro listing. Woo! Lucky says BNT has been fun. BNT is hot. BNT 14%, 74% over the last 7 days. That is a winner. I've pulled back my position a little bit because I think it looks overbought on the daily, the weekly. Weekly's pulling back. It could rip. But I'd like to see the daily and the 4 hour pull back a bit more because they don't look like Kyber. The 4 hour on Kyber. Look at this trend. Look at this beautiful trend right here. Look at this. Let me draw it. Look at that. Look at that. Ooh. And this is look at the averages. Here's the averages over here. Something like that, give or take. But the point is that's a classic bull div, bullish divergence. And to top it all off, um, look, it's better on the daily. So look, this thing never went bearish. So it ripped ripped and then ripped. So you got a fat rip that started this season back in the beginning of the year, November, and then it ripped a big rip, which was that March? It's got to be March, June. Was it really June? Okay, May. When you look at it the daily, time compresses so much. So May is really when this rip started, and it never went red. Do you see any red? Red means in the guppy, the super guppy, is that the averages have a negative slope. So we never even had a negative slope. This thing never went bearish. And as I said in the Twitter post, look, we got almost a 40%. Here, let's move this over. Let's flip it upside down also. Boop, boop, boop. So right about there. And right about here. So we got about a 40% drawdown. And we didn't even hit bearish trend action. That's crazy. So I got a larger position in Kyber right now because this thing is just primed to rip. Bancor already ripped. It's up 78% for the week. Take a look at this real quick. I mean, here, look, let's find it in the list. Bancor, $167 million at a market cap. When I was looking at this thing, it was $90 million. And my logic was Bancor is going to rip because it really needs to catch up to Kyber. Kyber was at 320 million dollar market cap at the time. So I'm like, there's no reason Bancor can't rip 3 times, give or take 3x. So Kyber's pulled back. It's somewhere here as well in the top list. There you go. So it's at 304. So Kyber's pulled back. There's no reason Kyber and Bancor, frankly, Kyber and Bancor, in my opinion, from a liquidity provider standpoint, and a governance asset. I think their governance asset is so much better than like Balancer Labs. It's because it's literally already distributed. It's a very different because they're legacy projects compared to these newer liquidity pools like Uniswap um, and Curve. And even though Curve I think is doing a great job. But there's no reason these assets can't be the size of Link. These are systemic disruptors. These are systemic components. Now, Bancor, frankly, is poised to disrupt an ongoing disruption. Actually, it's one of the few that I could actually say that's the case. So the disruption is the liquidity pools, the AMMs, and they're basically the foundation for the DeFi fire that you see going on. But and Curve has an advantage because it has no impermanent loss because it's dealing with assets of equivalent value. But Bancor V2 is about to deal with assets of not equivalent value and also solve for the impermanent loss. So Bancor, you really need to keep an eye on because this thing could disrupt an ongoing disruption, and that rarely ever happens. That's a crazy because I've talked about that a lot. That's like, pick an asset trying to disrupt Ethereum. It's not going to happen. The capacity to disrupt an ongoing disruption rarely ever happens historically in history. I mean, in anything, whether it's equities or companies or countries, there's no such thing as a disrupting an ongoing disruption. But that's actually what is the case for Bancor. So really keep an eye on Bancor because those V2 pools can literally disrupt the ongoing DeFi AMM liquidity provider ongoing disruption. Disrupt a disruption. That's crazy. So Bancor, love you guys. Crazy what you are possibly likely on the verge of achieving. If what you build plays out, that's what's going to happen. So OJJ says Renegades. I mean, Ren is just fire. Do I not have the Ren chart up? Of course I do. So this thing is just fire. So I consider myself a hands-off kind of guy. I have dark nodes, so I can't do anything even if I wanted to. So that's kind of a blessing and a curse. And I like that because it clearly ripped to the downside. How big was this rip to the? I don't even know how big it is. Here, let's go like this. I mean, this was basically a 40% drawdown, and now it ripped to the upside, basically like 40% again. Yeah. Basically, this rip to the upside was 50%. Woo, 43%. So here's your 40% to the downside and then 43% to the upside. Wow. So I can't sell it either way. I can't do anything about it. I'm locked up, and that's a cool thing. I don't need to. The REN is the grand facilitator of all the networks, all the layer ones. Whether it's Cosmos, whether it's Polkadot, whatever. If Cardano makes a magical run or something, and when smart contracts are released, and they actually have bridges, so cool. And REN's going to be there, and that's what REN does. REN is the interoperability solution for cross-chain functionality. And there's nothing else that's even remotely in a position to achieve what REN could do. REN is the systemic disruptor of disruptors. It is one of the most powerfully positioned assets with regard to functionality in the entire crypto space. So it's hard for me to say, like an entry point, like a good part of this video was like, yesterday I tweeted like entries, exits, and that was the poll, but I don't know what to do with Ren because this thing is up so much. I think I got in at like 6 cents. I don't even know what it is at in pennies right now. Let me take a look. It's up like 500% from where I got into this thing. So how do you get an entry? So here's what you got to look for entries. It's the same thing with like Kyber. You got to look for a depression in the daily and the 4 hour. You're not going to find it on the weekly at this point because everything's just been ripping week after week. But look for a depression and look for bullish divergences. So let's take a look at rent. So what do we got? On the daily, this thing is overbought. It's about to pull down. On the 4 hour, we're at the lower end of the Stoke. MACD doesn't look bullish. There's no reason this thing can't pull down to 1866, or even down here to 1758. And we'll find support. Bear in mind, look at the guppy. It's trending upward. So what we're going to see is probably weakness and a lot of horizontal action. I mean, I don't expect any bullish action. Obviously, in the shorter time frames, you're going to see some bearish action, but I don't expect any large, long-term bearish action unless this is systemic disruption to what's going on with the Bitcoin and Ethereum narrative. And that brings us back to the bigger picture: what's going on with the stock market, the dollar, the government stimulus bill. They're going to throw another trillion of gasoline on the fire, and that's all but inevitable at this point. So when this hits, when they throw another trillion on the fire, what do you think is going to happen to the dollar? This thing's going to plummet. It's going to reach another low. It's going to break a lower low. So is it 92.53 is the low? We'll see this thing at 92. That'll be another low. You got a long way down to go. And gold tells the big story, the macro narrative. $2,060. This is all-time high. Gold is in price discovery because nobody knows what the hell the dollar is going to do relative to other fiat, and they know that the dollar is actively being devalued and debased. And literally, Powell said they're pursuing aggressive inflation. They need to, relative to Fed policy, which is what we talked about yesterday, they're pursuing inflation. So that means gold, silver, crypto, Bitcoin. Yeah, that's where you want to be. From the DeFi coins and ETH will be like BNB and the IEOs of last year. I don't know BNB. The US is completely cut off from BNB and anything Binance does. So unless you want to deal with VPNs, which I don't. So that means Binance and Binance Chain and the IEOs are completely useless to me. They don't mean anything to me. I can't do anything with them. Like Rune, Thor. I can't do anything with it if I wanted to. I'm not going to go out of my way to try and invest in that when I'll have minimal liquidity. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, that's what's going on. I have the DeFi Global Summit up. Long's going to talk from Ren eventually. Cool. What is that? It's app.hop. No. Here, I could put this in the chat if you guys want to try and get in there. I don't know how you get in there, but I just clicked a bunch of stuff. All right. I don't know if you guys heard it. Maybe it was just my audio. But point being, I can't even invest in that. So anyway, BNB IEOs are completely off my radar. Now, bear in mind, I don't have a lot of liquidity for Cosmos, and I don't know what's going on with Polkadot yet. You got some Kusama action, but there's a lot of unknowns about, um, you know, max supply for. I mean, bear in mind, all of this stuff is inflationary. Cosmos, Polkadot, they're going to be inflationary assets. They're not going to be fixed supply. So, but like circulating supply, so I don't understand why they have a max supply here for IrisNet. I know they're going to do a burn and they're going to try and compensate for the inflationary nature of Cosmos hubs. So, which is really cool. I mean, IrisNet is basically one of the six chains that the BSN is focusing on. So the macro narrative for IrisNet is just really strong. Being that it's the smallest, it's the freshest out of the gate at 54 mil, compared to what Neo, Tezos, Ethereum that are part of the BSN's for initial six. So, but bear in mind, I tend to like 100 million plus mid caps. You can't really invest relatively large sums into these micro mini caps. Complicated to make choices, to choose where to park value, to understand where the large macro forces are pushing value. And the large macro forces obviously being these people in Congress, the stimulus. These unemployment numbers are ridiculous. What else is going on in the news? They're trying to dissolve the NRA because there's corrupt people, $64 million losses. Crazy. 1.2 million file unemployment. What is it, like 20 months? 20 months with over a million a week? I mean, 20 weeks, over a million a week in unemployment claims? Ridiculous. Real estate's plunging in Manhattan. This whole country is going to go through a transition in the 2020s. So you got to be on the right side of that transition, and that's why we're here talking about these crypto assets. Bancor, as I said, let's go through the line of the tabs and we'll tell the story. So Bancor have a smaller position as compared to Kyber right now. This wasn't the case 2 days ago. 2 days ago we were in that what was it? Was it a falling wedge or was it a symmetric triangle? And bam, 30% to the upside. So that was a nice rip. That was a different story. The technical analysis told a very different story. But now, right now, the technical analysis is leading towards Kyber because this thing has. Look, this is exactly the position that Bancor was in about 2, 3 days ago. This thing could rip 20, 30% to the upside, maybe even more. Never exit the position entirely. I still have plenty of Bancor sitting around waiting for this thing to go 10x and hit $1 billion market cap because there's no reason it shouldn't be $1 billion market cap. It's a foundational utility of the DeFi space. Oh man, Bancor and Kyber. Those are my two of my favorite positions, and obviously Ren. But I can't trade Ren. because it's locked up. And I'm sure as heck not going to trade something that I already have a massive position in. Digibyte obviously is up there because when this thing rips, so you can't really trade. I guess you can trade. I can't trade this because the only place you can trade Digibyte is on a centralized exchange, and I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to put value in the Bittrex so folks could track what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, how I'm doing it. No, I operate on the decentralized exchanges, so I have my control of my assets. I know what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, how I'm doing it. I don't need Bitrex to have analytics of my trades. I don't know. I don't like that. I'm done with centralized exchanges. I have no interest in participating in them. So when this thing rips to the upside, it's going to be a heck of a rip. You're going to see 350. I mean, this is a 3+ month symmetric triangle coming off bullish momentum. I mean, this is going to be one heck of a rip. There's no reason you can't see a good rip up here. 4, 5, 600. Come on. With the action that we've seen, if we see a lackluster rip to the upside, I'm going to be surprised. But anyway, that's why the chart's up to keep an eye on it. Gold just goes up. It just at this point it's just going up, and the DXY literally just keeps going down. And synthetics just keeps going up. Absolutely incredible what synthetics has been doing. It's at $4.44. I saw this at 70 cents 2 months ago. Oh yeah. This is one of my favorites. But bear in mind, what do you do with synthetics? I wouldn't trade synthetics. I don't trade synthetics, as a matter of fact. You go to Minter. What do you do with synthetics? Here, let me show you what I do with synthetics. This is what I do with synthetics. So I keep it at about an 852% collateralization ratio so that when I go to claim, I don't need to burn any SUSD. I got about $1,795 worth of SUSD, give it to 1,800, 1,795 SUSD. So you could go over to synthetics.exchange when you mint SUSD, because you're going to get your gains, you're going to get your SNX and SUSD weekly uh, rewards, and then they get placed into escrow. So here, check this out. So when I went back in, there's a June and July, I had a large bag of synthetics that was cranking out some weekly SNX. Oh, that was nice. What is it, 808? Damn, that's worth $3,600 right now. That's crazy. And the cool thing is this, you can mint SUSD with your escrowed SNX. So this just compounds. And and now I'm getting 13 a week. But bear in mind, 13 a week times $4.40, you have $50 a week. That's $200 a month worth of synthetics gains that are compounding and compounding and compounding and compounding. And lo and behold, in a year or two, when synthetics is $50, oh my goodness, oh, what a brilliant tokenomics monetary policy they created. So when you have your SUSD mint, you could go over to synthetics. I like the options. They're binary options. Like Ethereum, $500, August 31st. We're in August 6th. If you think Ethereum will be greater than $500, you go long. If you think it'll be less, you go short. So right now, it's about 50-50, give or take. So half the people think it's going to be 500, half the people think it's going to be less than 500. So you connect your wallet. It's loading. You select your wallet. I bet $100, 100 SUSD. That'll be greater than $500. You enable wallet access, you click a couple buttons, and all of a sudden you have a bet that if the Ethereum is $550 by August 31st, you're going to get a fair amount of payout probably. Actually, no, there's not many people betting. But I'm sure as we get closer to August 31st, more people will bet. You probably get 50, $100. You could easily get 100% gains on your binary option. So that's what these synthetics binary options are. Basically, this binary option. This is awesome, guys. And it's not just this, because if you go over to market, look, here's gold XAU. This is the price of $2,030 spot price. When it was up at 260. This is literally using Chainlink oracles, and this is inverse BTC. So when Bitcoin goes down, this goes up. And you have inverse link, you have XRP, you have the DeFi, which is like an ETF. You literally have Forex, synthetics, Japanese yen. Do you realize, and the euro, SUSD, this is, synthetics is building what the New York Stock Exchange does. You have the FTSE, the Nikkei, and don't they have stocks? Don't they have equities? I don't think they have a couple of equities. EOS, TRX. Wow. Inverse Litecoin. What I'm interested in is the inverse XRP. I don't know if that thing's ever going to go up. I don't even want to pull up the chart. I'm running out of time. I got 4 minutes left. Let's take a look at the comments. Anything? You mentioned Bitfinian a few days ago. Current opinion? Bitfinian is awesome. They need liquidity, which I'm sure Jared's going to get. And Jared Gray, he's been doing Bitfinian for years at this point. And I think they have one of the most incredible interfaces for a centralized exchange. If I was going to use a centralized exchange, that's the only exchange I would use. There's no KYC, no KYC on a centralized exchange, and it's beautiful. And you can stake, and there's masternodes. I think that is one of the most interesting projects. Now, does that warrant like a large 20% allocation of your portfolio? Heck no. I got a couple percent in there. For everyone's knowledge, no reason not to say, the vast majority of my portfolio is Bitcoin. The second largest is Ethereum. I use Ethereum as cash to bet on. Right now, my two largest bets are Kyber and Bancor. I do have a large position in Cosmos. Cosmos Hub is kind of like Polkadot, the DOT asset. It's like the central hub in some regards, or at least it was the first hub. And IrisNet is another Cosmos hub. Band is a hub where you're able to delegate to validators and they're actually cranking out blocks. Kava as well is a hub. So those are really cool assets. And frankly, if you take a look at the top charts, look at that. Look at this. Look at this. The top gainers over 24 hours aren't even Ethereum assets. Edgeware is a proposed Polkadot hub, parachain. Band is a Cosmos hub. Kusama is the Polkadot Canary network. Kava is a Cosmos hub. I don't know what Nest is. Dash is Dash. Wow, Dash coming back from the ashes. Look at that, almost a bill. Bancor is up there. iExec RLC. iExec is cool. It's decentralized compute. Big deal. Ren, 11, 12. That's 12% over 24 hours. I have no idea. I guess the rest of the world could access Binance Chain. Here in the U.S. and Florida, Florida's like the black hole of KYC. I mean, it's like New York. It's just as bad. You can't do anything in Florida or New York in the United States with regard to stuff that requires KYC. It's ridiculous. So if you're on a DAX, you can do anything you want. There's no restrictions, no limit. It's completely permissionless. What else is going on? Loopring. I like you, Loopring. I have a stake position in Loopring for months at this point. What is it at? Cool. It's up about 100%. What else? Hi, Digibyte. You're there. Kyber, you're going to get up there soon. Anything else? Cosmos. Hi, Cosmos. I like you. I like Cosmos and Polkadot. Those are the two layer one solutions that I would put my money on. I'm not going to put it on Tezos. I'm not going to put it on Elrond. I'm not going to put it on Cardano. I don't. My gut says those platforms are not going to win over Polkadot and Cosmos. So, but that's the choice. There's plenty of people out there that are like Cardano's going to be the winner. I'm like, Polkadot and Cosmos have a huge amount of development. And Cosmos is basically in with the Chinese government. And Polkadot is Gavin Wood. So clear. Okay, fine. So Cardano is Charles. So but there's no development. So then it comes with first out of the gate disruption. So that means Cardano's going to have to play catch up to probably Polkadot at this point. They're not going to compete with Cosmos. Cosmos is the East. So if you're going to compete with another layer one in the West over here, it's going to be probably Polkadot. So Cosmos is going to compete. And look how many projects was it? Polka project. Polka projects? Is that it? Projects. I don't know. Chico pulls it up. He Polka projects. Oh, I wish I had a. It's a huge list. It's a massive list of projects that are being built. There's something like 100 plus. There's only so many parachain slots in the Polkadot network, but there's something like 100 plus projects that want to be a Polkadot parachain. It's a massive list of that's competitive. So it's pretty cool. Anyway, let's take a look at the comments real quick, and then we're going to jump off for today. You mentioned Bitfinian. Love Bitfinian, Christian. Buy Chi. So yeah, I have this up here, this SNX link. I couldn't get it to work, but whatever. I don't mind if I make $40 for the week and I spend $10 on gas for the transaction to go through. I don't really care. But yeah, but obviously if I could reduce it with Chi, so I'm going to keep my eye on this. And if I could get this to work, because Chi is clearly like a 70-80% reduction in gas costs, that's a massive win. If you're doing DEX trading, it's 1 inch exchange. Maka, I think you're paying gas fees from what I hear, but they don't have all the assets. 1 inch exchange has everything. So, and 1 inch exchange, grab your Chi, and that's the way to do this game. What else is going? As long as Chi is on your MetaMask, the fees are promulgated. Uh, yes, that's correct. So as long as you have Chi in your Chi in your wallet, and you're using 1 inch, you're good to go. You have to activate Chi. So if you're on Uniswap, Chi's not going to get used. If you're on Kyber swap, Chi's not going to get used. So go to 1 inch and use your 1 inch and have your Chi. You're going to save a fortune in gas fees. I'd probably save like thousands of dollars at this point. Tax deduction if I reported it. I'd probably have the government, if I reported these types of transactions, the government would owe me money. So I don't know. The rules and regulations are so ass backwards. What do you think of BitFi? I'm not quite sure. I don't know what BitFi is off the top of my head. Market transaction fees are waived. Crazy. Only pay for approvals. Crazy. So they're subsidizing it. They want the traffic. They want the attention because that's what the power is of Ethereum DeFi. It's attracting attention. It's attracting developers. It's attracting consumption and use, and that's everything. And that's why there's nothing is going to disrupt Ethereum. And that's the way it works. This all works on psychology. The same reason we're looking at technicals, we're looking at trends, we're looking at momentum and buying power and pressure and support and resistance. It's the same reason nothing's going to disrupt Ethereum. And you're going to find these other layer ones, Cosmos and Polkadot primarily, they're going to want to work with Ethereum. And that's why Elron just announced on Twitter, what was it, XDAI is going to facilitate some sort of bridge. Clearly, XDAI has ERC20s, and I don't know how they're going to catch up with Ren with regard to custody. That's really Ren's bread and butter. Was the MPC algorithm, and just everything they've been building for the last 5,000 years at this point, and proving with mainnet. I know we're over, but let's look at mainnet on Ren because, oh goodness, absolutely incredible what these boys are doing. Hey, look at this. $55 million, $56 million. TVL, AUM, transaction value locked. AUM, more of a legacy finance term, assets under management. Wow. 119 million. Yesterday, $10 million done in one day. If there's, as I said, if when there's 119 mil done thus far on the Ren Darknode network. So let's say it was 100 mil a month, and let's say, so that means all you have to do is a 30x, 30 times the volume for $1 billion a day, which is 5% of the Bitcoin market cap, 5% of Bitcoin market cap, $1 billion a day in transactions, and the Ren dark nodes are pulling in money, and you're basically living off your dark nodes at this point. You're pulling in like $800 a day, and per dark node. So that's what I'd like to see. I'd like to see $1 billion a day in volume, which and we're talking about in the next couple of years, dark nodes are going to facilitate cross-chain assets, not just Bitcoin. Look, there's only Bitcoin here. The Zcash and Bitcoin Cash are useless. They're doing nothing with regard to volume. But when you got what is it, Akala and Polkadot, the Polkadot dexes, and Akala facilitates uh, Bitcoin Bitcoin on Polkadot vis-a-vis Ren. Oh yeah, yeah. So you got Polkadot, you got everything that Ren could integrate with. There's no reason we can't get the 5% Bitcoin volume. And and bear in mind, if Bitcoin goes to like does pulls a 10x and it's worth 2 trillion, and all we need is $1 billion a day in volume, we're talking fraction of a percent. All we need then we're going to need a fraction of a percent of Bitcoin's market cap traded on going across the dark node network to account for. Yeah, okay. So you guys see where this is going in the next couple of years. All right, guys. Always a pleasure. 12:36 on a Thursday, August 6th. I touched on a lot of topics today. I hope I hit everything. I don't know if the captain's on. I didn't see him today. Remind me tomorrow, Captain Weber, if I hit on your topics. Otherwise, if anyone wants me to talk about anything, you hit me up on Twitter. Say hi, say what's up, and I'm going to talk about what everyone wants me to talk about because that's the way we're going to do things around these parts. Y'all have a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Peace.